My husband, who once promised to love me till the end of my days, no matter what I looked like. But after I gave birth, a female colleague mocked my figure. When I retorted, my husband immediately humiliated me on the spot. Look at your belly, it's like a messy scribble. Fat and ugly, yet you dare to criticize others. I told you to change, but you wouldn't listen. Now look at how you're dressed. He used sharp words to corner me. In his eyes, there was nothing but ridicule. In that moment, I felt so utterly meaningless. Why should I listen to him and change my clothes? If someone needed changing, wouldn't it be better to change my husband? After my maternity leave, Julian, my husband, insisted I invite my colleagues out for a meal. He said I was already clumsy, and giving birth would only make me even dumber. It's been 3 years of being dumb, so I should build good relationships with colleagues so they can help me more. Thinking he had good intentions, I agreed. But when I put on a simple t-shirt, getting ready to leave, Julian frowned, then burst into laughter. Ha ha. You look like a water barrel with 2 sagging gourds tied to it. Looking at my unrecovered body, with my breasts drooping after breastfeeding, I felt incredibly self-conscious and hurt. I'd lost count of how many times he joked to put me down. Ever since I gave birth to our daughter, he became a different person, no longer as tolerant or patient as before. Every time, he'd say things that broke my heart, and I never knew how to retort. He seemed accustomed to my slow wit and lack of quick responses. By the time I thought of something to say back, he'd act serious. Oh my God, are you actually taking this to heart? Why are you overthinking it so much? You're being so petty? Then he'd chuckle, say a few soothing words, and everything would be brushed aside. It was the same this time. Seeing my unhappiness, he chuckled. I was just joking, darling. But it's strange, isn't it? Your colleague, Sophia, just gave birth and she doesn't look like you. Both women, yet she's still slender, curves in all the right places, full of vitality right after delivery. I think it's because you don't manage yourself well, eating too much, sleeping too much, and refusing to exercise. I told you, but you never listen. I was about to open my mouth to argue when he said, I'm going ahead, you change into something else and fix yourself up. You look absolutely dreadful like this. He left me there and walked out. I stood stunned, feeling utterly heartbroken. Suddenly, I wondered, is this the man who once said he'd love me even more after I gave birth? Looking in the mirror, I was also surprised. How blind had I been to marry a man like that? In the past, such words would have crushed me, stripped me of all confidence, and I'd have torn through my wardrobe to find something else to wear. But now, a surge of defiance rose within me. Looking at the clean white t-shirt I was wearing, I felt both humiliated and furious. Why should I change my clothes? If someone needed changing, wouldn't it be better to change my husband? When I arrived at the restaurant, Sophia had just gotten there too. Julian stepped out, his eyes sweeping past me before he extended a hand towards Sophia, his voice soft. Oh, my beautiful Sophia, what took you so long? He escorted her to the table, pulling out her chair for her, looking incredibly charming. But when he turned back to me, his face changed instantly. He lowered his voice, scolding, Why are you only just arriving? I told you to change, why didn't you? Are you deliberately trying to embarrass me? The same words, yet from his mouth, they carried 2 completely opposite attitudes. The way he treated someone he loved versus someone he didn't was truly distinct. I chuckled mockingly, a rare retort. Today, I'm the main character. What I choose to wear is my business. Immediately, he couldn't control his anger. You really are trying to humiliate me? His shout instantly drew everyone's attention. Sophia, in a figure-hugging black dress and delicate high heels, walked over. Oh, Anna's here. I thought it was someone blocking all the light. Come on, sit down. Her sarcasm was blatant, not even slightly veiled. Oh, Anna, your figure is truly rounded. Aren't you worried about falling? After I gave birth, I was so worried I couldn't eat or sleep. I started losing weight within the first month. She looked me up and down, her eyes full of disdain. In the past, I was weak, always trying to keep the peace. But now that I was a mother, things were a little different. If she had said that before, I would have felt uncomfortable but just forced a smile and let it go. But now, I would retort to make her uncomfortable too. Being a little ugly is fine. What's truly terrifying is being both ugly and fake, yet having no shame. What do you think? Hearing the hidden meaning in my words, Sophia feigned injustice. Anna, you're so harsh. I was just joking and telling the truth, sis. She bowed her head, pretending to cry, looking utterly pitiful. Julian's face instantly darkened. He openly humiliated me. Look at her stomach, it's like a messy, splotchy, disgusting scribble. And you dare to criticize others, who has a barrel waist like yours and breasts sagging like 2 withered gourds. As Julian uttered those two sentences, I suddenly became strangely calm. I realized his face at that moment looked exactly like the mad dog downstairs at my house. It seemed inappropriate to argue with a mad dog in a place like this. Seeing my silence, Julian thought he had me cornered, as usual. Besides, lately, your emotions have been extremely unstable, like a madwoman. Don't start screaming hysterically again. Right at that moment, Sophia, with her green tea nature, showed her true colors. Oh, stop it, Julian, don't blame Anna anymore. She just gave birth, it's really pitiful. But I remember when I gave birth to my son, I didn't get fat at all. After my confinement period, my waist was back to a size 4. She looked at me provocatively. But Anna is different. She has a good husband, so she doesn't need to worry about anything. I truly admire you for that. As these words came out, all the colleagues at the table put down their chopsticks, waiting for the drama. Julian stood up, placed a hand on my shoulder, and slowly said, I don't have any malicious intentions. I just want you to see yourself clearly. Look, when I tell you at home, you always say that every woman goes through a phase of being both fat and ugly after childbirth. I've told you before, not everyone is like you. You didn't believe it then, do you believe it now? You see. It takes others attacking you for you to finally realize. I suddenly understood everything. So Julian's purpose in making me invite my colleagues to this meal was to humiliate me in front of everyone. All because last time, when he humiliated me, I accidentally blurted out that most women go through such a phase after giving birth. That day, he talked a lot, forcing me to admit that not every woman gets fat and saggy after childbirth. Finally, unable to bear it, I just blurted out, if you don't believe it, then don't. That very sentence made him remember it until now, deliberately arranging this dinner to embarrass me in front of my colleagues. My face turned cold and I was about to speak, but Sophia snatched the words first. Julian is right. What we're saying might sound unpleasant, but it's all for your own good, Anna. You're so strange, Anna. You're so fat, yet you don't try to lose weight. If I had a good husband like Julian, my waist would surely have become delicately small within my confinement month, haha. The surrounding colleagues heard this and covered their mouths, laughing. Julian, hearing every mention of his name, became even more excited. He picked up the menu and loudly declared, Thank you all for attending today's Wife Criticism Conference. Feel free to order something expensive. I was flipping through my phone, frowning, but Julian thought I had conceded defeat. Anna, it's good that you recognize your problem. You'd best start losing weight today. You don't need to eat this meal. Go home early and look after the child. My disgust had reached its limit. Finally, I found Sophia's husband's phone number, which she had once used my phone to call. I dialed and yelled into the phone, Hello, is this Sophia's husband? She just said she wants to switch husbands. Are you willing to give up your position? The moment the words left my mouth, the entire table froze. The atmosphere became extremely tense. Hanging up the phone, I picked up the wine glass Julian had just poured, splashed it directly into his face, then slapped him twice, threw the glass onto the table, and walked straight out. Postpartum women are already very sensitive. Constantly humiliating her is nothing short of seeking one's own death. In that very moment, I decided to make Julian pay. When I got home, the baby was crying loudly. My mother-in-law was lying on the sofa, holding her phone and chuckling. Seeing me, she slowly put down her phone and started scolding, Why don't you just stay out until next year? You have no idea how tiring it is to look after the child. You want to exhaust this old woman to death, don't you? I picked up the sobbing child, gently comforted her, and then said in the softest voice, I'm divorcing your son. You pack your bags and get out of here. She realized something was wrong, glaring at me. What do you mean? I mean, pack your bags and get out. She was so angry she couldn't speak. Just then, Julian came home. As he stepped through the door, he raised his voice. Acting crazy because of alcohol, Anna? Are you insane? You've ruined Sophia. Her husband immediately rushed over and beat her up. You're absolutely mad. They said that to you for your own good. I told you, but you wouldn't believe you're a fat, ugly slob, so I had to find this way to make you realize. You're so great. Not only are you ungrateful, but you also cause others trouble. I don't care about you. Go explain and apologize to her right now. My mother-in-law pulled him back, trying to tell him to stop talking. Finally, unable to hold him back, she slapped him. Shut up, your wife wants a divorce. Divorce? He was stunned for a moment, then burst out laughing. She dares to divorce me? Does she really dare? Ha ha! I went back into the room, gently put the baby down, and all the suppressed emotions within me exploded at that moment. Julian didn't deserve to be my child's father. When I walked out, Julian was still raving. Anna is an orphan. She lacks love, so she can't leave me. We have a child now, so she has no choice but to cling to me. Having lived with Julian for many years, I knew he wasn't truly drunk. He was just pretending to be drunk to speak his true feelings, and if I got angry, he would just excuse himself by saying he was talking nonsense because he was drunk. He always left himself a way out but was accustomed to blocking all escape routes for others. In the past, it wasn't that I didn't realize this, it was just that I loved him. I was very clear-headed, but I wasn't ruthless enough. My soft heart was my biggest downfall. But now, no longer in love, I acted quickly. I kicked Julian hard, shoving him out the door, pushed his mother out, and then locked the door. The moment the door slammed shut, I felt like my entire body was liberated. I didn't even need to spend money hiring someone to clear my milk ducts anymore. Locked outside, Julian sobered up completely. He pounded on the door frantically. "Anna, are you crazy?" I thought, perhaps I was crazy to have let him deceive me for so long. When Julian pursued me, he always appeared sincere, simple, humorous, and interesting. For someone who had lacked love since childhood like me, he was like a small sun, bringing me warmth without any flaws. Even throughout our 2 years of dating, he never once raised his voice at me. This made me mistakenly believe he was the best man in the world. I had revealed my biggest weakness, my lack of love. At that time, he shed tears of sorrow, promising to double everything I had lacked. I never imagined he would later use that weakness to control and domesticate me. When we got married, I let him move into the house my parents left me. To ease his awkwardness, I proactively didn't ask for any bride price or dowry. At that time, he swore, "As long as you're obedient and by my side, I will definitely love you wholeheartedly." Thinking back, that statement was no different from domesticating a dog. But back then, I was completely blind and didn't realize it. It wasn't until I got pregnant that he started to reveal his true colors. In the early stages, he blamed me for being difficult and unable to do housework, using it as an excuse to invite his mother to live with us. When my morning sickness passed, he began to mentally brainwash me, saying that I was about to become a mother, yet I couldn't do anything properly. He had his mother-in-law supervise me doing household chores like cooking and washing dishes, claiming it was to guide me, but in reality, it was surveillance. At the time, I thought we were family, and these small matters weren't worth dwelling on, so I didn't pay much attention. During the time I gave birth, Julian got promoted. Since his promotion, he no longer pretended. Every day, he came home like a king, with his mother taking care of everything. Julian was no different from someone in confinement, even more relaxed than I was. Throughout my confinement month, he didn't comfort our child once. When the baby cried and fussed in the middle of the night, he'd grab his blanket and pillow, kick the door, and go sleep on the sofa, muttering, "Now I'm supporting the whole family alone. If I don't get enough sleep, who will take care of you all?" I never imagined a person could be so hypocritical, completely different from before. Now that I was a mother, even if I had to go crazy, I couldn't endure it anymore. As I was holding our child and sleeping, Julian and his mother frantically pounded on the door outside. I had locked the bedroom door, put on my headphones, and continued to sleep. But I was suddenly shaken awake. When I opened my eyes, I was so frightened my soul nearly left my body. Julian and his mother stood by the bed, accompanied by 2 police officers. Seeing me awake, Julian immediately knelt down, embracing me, sobbing uncontrollably. "Wife, I thought you had done something foolish. I knocked for ages, but you wouldn't open the door. I was scared to death. If anything happened to you, how would I live?" I suddenly understood. He had called the police, using the excuse that I was suicidal to break into the house. I tried to explain, but the police officer raised a hand to stop me. "Family disputes should be resolved yourselves. In the future, talk calmly about any issues. Don't waste the police force's time." After the police left, Julian still wouldn't let go of me, his face smeared with tears and snot. Anyone looking at him at that moment would surely think he loved me to the core. I gave a cold laugh. "Isn't that enough?" "What are you saying? I was drunk, so I don't clearly remember what happened. All I know is I knocked for ages and you didn't answer. I was frantic with fear, so I called the police. Are you still angry about dinner tonight?" Julian was very cunning. He skipped over what had just happened and shifted to the dinner to distract me. He wanted to brush aside the fact that I had called Sophia's husband and slapped him to evade his own mistakes. In the past, I turned a blind eye because I loved him, but now, seeing him just made me nauseous. I retorted. He still thought I was a weak woman, easily manipulated. "I did that for your own good. If you're upset, I'm sorry, okay? You've already hit me," scolded me. Can we just let everything end here? You don't need to be petty and unforgiving forever. He didn't even dare to mention making me apologize to Sophia. I suddenly found it amusing. Did he think that humiliating me, then offering a single apology, could make everything go away? I brought a house as part of my dowry, helping him have a home in the city. By what right did he humiliate me, just because he thought I wasn't worthy of him, a man who had just been promoted and gotten a raise? Since I gave birth, he had never once asked about my condition or the babies. On the contrary, ever since I left the hospital, he always hinted about me needing to lose weight. On the surface, he said it was for my own good, but his indifferent eyes, not even bothering to look at me, had betrayed him long ago. All he had left for me was disgust. What hurt me the most was once, when he talked about losing weight, I complained a few times and he sighed, "What do you want me to do? I'm a small-time leader at work now. You weigh 80 kilograms. What am I supposed to tell people? How am I supposed to take you to meetings and company dinners later?" I couldn't believe it. Isn't giving birth and breastfeeding something to be proud of? Since when did giving birth and breastfeeding become something shameful? I couldn't keep a man like this for even one more day. "Stop acting, I am definitely divorcing you in this marriage. The house is mine, the child is mine, you too, pack your bags and get out." He was slightly stunned. "Are you serious?" "What else?" I retorted. He immediately stood up, resorting to his old habits, pointing at me. "Anna, why are you so petty?" "Shut up, don't you dare talk about my petty heart again, I'm sick of those words." My anger flared instantly. My heart, my chest, no longer belonged to him. He wasn't worthy of talking about them. As the two of us argued fiercely, our daughter cried loudly. I felt heartbroken for waking her up and didn't want to continue arguing, but he completely ignored her cries, continuing to yell and make a racket. Fearing the child would be frightened, I picked her up and walked out, turning back to him. "Julian, I've finally seen through you. You're completely inhuman. I am definitely divorcing you in this marriage. You have one day to move out of this house. Tomorrow, when I come back, you and your mother must return the house to me. Otherwise, I won't be polite." I walked towards the elevator and he rushed out, pointing at me and shouting, "Go on, run. If you're so great, then don't ever come back and tell us to move out. Never." I gave a cold laugh and stepped into the elevator. When a woman's heart is no longer with a man, the knife in her hand naturally sharpens. I carried my child to find a hotel, one hand holding her, the other carrying my bag, looking utterly miserable. My daughter in my arms kept wailing, so much so that even passers-by asked if I needed help. But the child's biological father, from beginning to end, didn't bother to pay any attention to his own child. A man selfish to his core, unable to uphold a marriage, unworthy of a wife and child. He regarded everyone around him as little dogs. At first, everything was good. But when conflicts arose, he immediately turned into a stranger, only knowing how to say terrible things to mock, humiliate, and slander me. Even though I endured the hardships of pregnancy, the pain of childbirth, the miserable confinement month, and the struggles of raising our child for him, he showed no gratitude. In the past, I had hoped he would change. Now I finally understood. A dog's nature can never be changed. As soon as I finished checking into the hotel, Julian sent a message. "Anna, what game are you playing? We have a child now. Who are you putting on a show for? I'm telling you, if you don't come back right now, my mother will leave. Then no one will help you look after the child." I suddenly had an epiphany. Ever since our daughter was born, he always said, "I'll help you look after the child," or "My mother will help you look after the child," or "My mother will help you cook, wash dishes, take care of the child." Was this child only mine? A pang of sorrow welled up inside me. The man who once always put me first, treated me kindly and thoughtfully, was now nothing but an utterly selfish scumbag, no different from trash. Seeing that I didn't reply, Julian sent another lengthy message. "I only did what I did because I love you too much. I didn't know you would be so out of control emotionally after giving birth. You really have issues. I'm just helping you realize your problems and find yourself again. Did I do wrong? If you don't understand and think I'm wrong, I already apologized. Why do you have to make a scene in front of my mother like that?" At the end of the message, he even included a heart and rose sticker. "Sorry, baby." I burst out laughing, utterly disgusted. He thought he was apologizing, but in every word he was actually blaming me. The word baby almost made me vomit. It had been a very long time since he called me baby. When we first started dating, he often called me that. Back then, I was full of vitality, my figure and looks were outstanding. No matter where we went, Julian liked to take me with him. When others praised me for being beautiful and having a good figure, he would always puff out his chest, proudly saying, "That's because I feed her well?" At the time, I just thought he liked to save face, so I didn't pay attention. Looking back now, I was merely a valuable pawn in his hands. When I was still valuable, he would sweet-talk me. Once I lost my value, he immediately turned his back on me. My anger surged. I called him directly. "If you're a man, stop rambling. Get out of my house right now. This house is my premarital property and our child is still breastfeeding. You have no rights whatsoever. Get out now." After my shout, I hung up, secretly feeling lucky. Lucky that he was so good at hiding things. I had once thought he wasn't after my assets, so I had never added his name to the house my parents left me. It was also fortunate that I had been careful and never told him about the 2 other houses my parents had left me. My phone pinged again. Julian sent a threatening message. "First, I can't move out. I've put up with you for so long, I deserve half of this house. Second, I don't need the daughter. I won't give you a single penny for child support. Third, you earn $5,000 a month, I earn $8,000. What right do you have to yell at me? Fourth, do you think you can leave me? I'm telling you, never." Julian had no shame left. In fact, when he compared me to Sophia, I had already realized something was wrong. While he was changing, I looked at his phone. The messages between him and Sophia were so brazen they made me nauseous. Despite my anger, I still trembled as I photographed all those disgusting messages and pictures. I hadn't even had a chance to settle scores with him yet, and he had already put on a big show himself. If he didn't care about his reputation, I would help him completely ruin it. I took out my phone, added Sophia's husband, Ken, on WeChat, intending to send him all the evidence. But just then my phone displayed a strange notification in English. Looking closely, the word "location" jumped out at me, making me tremble. Since when had Julian installed a tracker on my phone? The more I thought, the more terrified I became. The man I lived with had secretly installed a tracker on my phone. What was he planning to do? Or was he trying to prevent me from doing something? It was no surprise he once said, "You'll never escape me." At this moment, he was probably gloating, preparing to scare me. I quickly regained my composure and formulated a plan. If he was a praying mantis hunting a cicada, I would be the sparrow behind. I messaged Ken, telling him to come to the hotel tomorrow morning to receive evidence. My previous statement about Sophia wanting to switch husbands had already enraged him, so this time, he immediately agreed. Ken arrived at the hotel very early. I arranged to meet him in the hotel lobby, deliberately prolonging the time, waiting for Julian to appear. As I sent the messages and photos to Ken, his grip tightened with each one he saw until he slammed his hand down on the table. Julian, whistling, just walked in. Ken looked up, saw Julian, and his rage exploded. He immediately rushed forward, grabbed Julian by the collar, and began punching him relentlessly. Julian had no time to react, getting beaten to the point of dazed disorientation, with no chance to fight back. As he crawled to a corner, begging for mercy, Sophia appeared. Seeing the situation, she immediately confessed before anyone even asked. "Honey, stop hitting him. He and I really didn't do anything." The moment she said that, Ken slapped her and then kicked Julian directly in the head. By the time several security guards pulled Ken away, Julian was bleeding all over his face. Seeing him about to faint, I quickly ran over and mimicked his earlier act. "Oh my God, honey, what happened to you? I'm scared to death." I couldn't help but laugh out loud. I wondered if he had ever heard the saying, "When someone is down, kick them even more." When he regained consciousness, the police asked him who had beaten him, but he didn't dare to tell the truth. He had to grit his teeth and swallow his anger. Standing outside, hearing him, I almost burst out laughing. I couldn't count how many times he had made me swallow such humiliation. Now it was his turn to taste it. Just as I couldn't stop myself from laughing, my mother-in-law walked out to get some water. She stared at me, then bellowed, "Are you even human? Your husband is beaten like this and you're still laughing? Do you have a conscience? He's your child's biological father." At first, I intended to stay silent, as she always did in the past, but her last sentence made me unable to hold back. I deliberately spoke loudly. "Biological father or not, how sure are you about that, huh?" I drew out my words and then walked away, leaving her standing there, glaring. I'm sure that comment was enough to make Julian scratch his head in confusion. While Julian was incapacitated, I dealt with all the furniture in the house by selling it online. These past few days, I had seen his true colors. Besides being an extremely selfish man, he was also a scoundrel. To prevent him from causing trouble, I sold the house at a low price. I took my daughter to live in another house I had prepared beforehand and hired a nanny to care for her. This house had been renovated a long time ago. I had planned to tell Julian about my two other houses only after our child's first month, but unfortunately, he wasn't fortunate enough to enjoy that. I decorated the house to my liking. The clean and tidy house made me feel incredibly comfortable. Finally, I had escaped that house full of filth and chaos. I would not compromise for my child, nor for anyone, would I wear torn shoes or eat uncooked rice. My marriage to Julian was like picking sesame seeds off the ground. Even if it crumbled, I would still bend down to pick up each seed. I understood his hardships, but he had never understood what I had endured. Everything should have ended a long time ago. I found a lawyer and made a very simple demand. The child belonged to me, and Julian would leave empty-handed. When everything was settled, Julian was discharged from the hospital. I knew he would go straight home, so I deliberately chose the day before his discharge to move out and hand over the house to the new owner. As soon as the handover was complete, Julian returned. What are you doing back?" I asked with a smile. "What do you mean?" Julian frowned. "The house is gone. I sold it, hee-hee, surprised, not surprised." Immediately, Julian, who was leaning on a cane, about to feign helplessness, threw the cane away and pointed at me, full of rage. "Anna, how dare you sell my house? This is our marital property. I don't agree." "Marital property?" I almost burst out laughing. "If you don't know the law, find someone to read you the regulations on marital property. This house is my premarital asset." I emphasized each word. "Even if I give it to someone else, it has nothing to do with you." I turned to the new owner and said, "All right, gentlemen, you can escort them out and lock the door." The new owners were a family. Each person pulled one, escorting both Julian and his mother out the door. The door slammed shut. That was it. No house left. What could be a better surprise gift for Julian? Before leaving, I announced, "I've already found a lawyer. If you don't want things to get ugly, be a little reasonable." Julian's face kept changing. Just as he was about to say something, I turned and walked away. No one would stand still forever for him to oppress. When a woman no longer loves a man, she will never look back. He was nothing, not even as good as a stranger. The moment I got home, a message from Julian immediately popped up. "Anna, where are you and our child? Have you changed your phone number?" I burst out laughing. Did he really think I was stupid enough not to notice the tracking device he had installed on my phone? Even if I hadn't discovered the tracker, his appearance at the hotel that day would have been enough to make me suspicious. Yet he thought I wasn't clever enough to figure out his trick. "Discovered the tracker, have you?" I messaged back. I truly enjoyed the feeling of exposing someone directly like this. It was immensely satisfying. On the other end, the typing indicator showed for a long time. Finally, Julian only sent a question mark. Even now, he still thought I was an idiot. I couldn't be bothered to reply further. I kept his phone number and WeChat only to notify him about the divorce, not to play cat and mouse games. I wanted everything to end smoothly, but Julian wouldn't let go. That day, he came all the way to my workplace to confront me. I thought he would cause a scene, but to my surprise, he knelt down in front of everyone. "Wife, I was wrong. Please forgive me." He grabbed my pant leg, tears streaming down his face. "We've had so many years of feelings. Even if I did something wrong, you should tell me so I can fix it, right? Haven't I fixed it? Even when you said our daughter isn't mine, I still endured it. What more do you want from me?" Indeed, he knew how to latch onto crucial points. My offhand comment at the hospital earlier was now fully exploited by him. As expected, after he finished speaking, colleagues around us started whispering, criticizing me as a promiscuous and indecent woman. Seeing this, Julian cried even more tragically. "Wife, what exactly do you want?" I never imagined Julian could be this shameless. "Julian, if you're a man, pick up your dignity," I shouted, kicking him, but he deliberately fell to one side, covering his head and yelling, don't hit me, please don't hit me." His movements were so practiced, as if I abused him every day. This scene prompted colleagues to call security. "If you don't have a job, what will you use to raise your child?" The security guards escorted both of us out. It was then that Julian stopped his act. He grinned triumphantly, asking, "Anna, what do you think? If you don't have a job, no income, what will you use to raise your child?" His smile made me lose control, and I slapped him hard across the face. He didn't dodge, he even deliberately pushed his face forward. My slap left a clear mark on his cheek. The sound of colleagues gasping behind me. It was then I realized I had fallen into his trap. This time, I truly couldn't clear my name. This cruel and insidious man made me regret everything profoundly. After this stunt, I lost my job. Julian thought that when I lost my job and had no income, I would have to come back begging him. But he was thinking too much. If he made me lose my job, he shouldn't expect to keep his either. The next day, I wore some torn clothes with messy hair and burst into Julian's workplace, crying dramatically. Mimicking his stunt from the day before, I knelt down in front of everyone. "Husband, I was wrong. Please forgive me. We've had so many years of feelings. Even if I did something wrong, you should tell me so I can fix it, right? Even when you cheated with my colleague, I forgave you. What more do you want from me?" Julian's face immediately changed. He rushed over, intending to pull me up, but he forgot that I weighed 80 kilograms. The very body he used to mock now came in handy. He couldn't lift me at all. Seeing his superior approaching, I immediately took out my phone and flipped through each disgusting photo and message between him and Sophia. As I flipped, I cried even more tragically. "I just gave birth and you're already cheating. When I say 2 words to you, you hit me and curse me. Oh my God, where's the justice in all of this?" As I cried, I pulled up my sleeve, revealing scratches on my arm from a nettle rash I had scratched until it bled a few days ago. "Look, did you hit me? What did I do wrong, you shameless man?" I had truly learned from him. Acting, who doesn't know how to act? Did he really think watching Empresses in the Palace 100 times was useless? As long as I was more shameless than him, he had no chance of winning. Julian's colleagues around us gasped and pointed at him. Giving back exactly what he dished out, that's so satisfying. And now he had nothing left. To ensure his superior wouldn't easily let him off, I immediately turned and hugged the superior's leg. "Sir, if I come here every day, please don't be annoyed. You have to understand a woman who just gave birth, don't you?" As soon as I finished speaking, Julian's career there was effectively over. When he called security to drag me out, the HR department also sent him his termination notice. Seeing my goal achieved, I dusted my hands, adjusted my clothes, and repeated what he had said to me the day before. "Julian, tell me, if you don't have a job, no income, what will you use to support your family?" It was then that he finally realized and screamed, "Do you really need to get revenge on me like this? What good does it do you if I lose my job?" Seeing him furious to the point of madness, I smirked. "Good. It doesn't do any good, it just feels satisfying. As for my job, I'm fine. I never told you that my parents also left me 2 other houses. Currently, my daughter and I are living in one of them and the other one I've rented out." I leaned closer to him, lowering my voice even further. "Selling that house also left me with a decent amount of savings. Even if I don't work, it's enough to support me and my daughter." His face was a mixture of shock and anger. "Why didn't you say so earlier? Your true colors finally show." The biggest reason he agreed to marry me was because I owned a house. I burst out laughing. "My house? What does it have to do with you?" I turned and walked away casually, leaving him standing bewildered in the wind. After that incident, Julian began trying every method to win me over. He used the excuse of visiting our daughter to repeatedly bring me flowers and food. He became increasingly subservient, increasingly haggard. Each time I threw out the things he brought, he would force a smile, pick them up, and say, "It's okay, I'll bring something else next time. Anna, we've had so many years of feelings. Sooner or later, you'll forgive me." Looking at his appearance, I suddenly remembered the past. There was a time when I was just like that, giving my all, only to receive a mess in return. I had once been touched by my own sacrifices for him, marrying and having a child with him, only to be mocked by him for my unrecovered figure after confinement. This love, this family, had taken away all my faith in marriage. Now, I only wanted to love myself. By the day of the court hearing, my figure had almost fully recovered. I put on careful makeup and wore a slip dress I hadn't worn in a long time. I was like a transformed person, a complete contrast to Julian's haggard appearance. Facing the judge, I had reason, money, and a house. As for Julian, apart from an elderly mother, he had nothing. Gavel strikes. Custody of the child belonged to me. This marriage had finally ended. As I carried my daughter out of the courthouse, Julian reached out to stop me. Before he could say anything, I coldly warned, "If you touch me now, I can sue you for harassment." He froze, let go, then sighed. "Anna, can I still come see you?" "No," I replied decisively. "Aside from providing child support on time, if you harass me even once, I will sue you." He clenched his fist. Behind his helpless expression was a voice tinged with self-mockery. "That's right, we have nothing to do with each other anymore." "Exactly. You and I have absolutely no connection." As I was about to walk away, I suddenly remembered how he had scornfully told me to change my clothes. I turned back and said one last thing. I don't think I need to change my clothes to please anyone. What I need is simply to change a man. With that, I didn't look back at him again. In my arms, my daughter was playfully fussing, and I smiled. Bright, beautiful days were ahead for us.